You're tuned into the Parliament Channel 11 and Radio 105.5 FM. The committee has just finished examining Head 25, the Ministry of Food Production. Up next, the Ministry of Land and Marine Resources, Head 76.
Whilst your team is assembling, let me proceed. Honourable members, the question is, well, first of all, Head 76, Ministry of Land and Marine Resources, $254,994,700. Honourable Minister, would you like to make a few opening remarks before we get into the substantive matter?
Mr. Chairman, let me thank you for allowing my technocrats from the ministry to be here to assist me in these questions as well. And Mr. Chairman, this ministry this month is exactly 1 year old. It's one of the newest ministries that has been created under this People's Partnership government. My permanent secretary, Ms. Shellyan Haynes, who sits on my left, she actually comes from the Tongue and Country Planning Division, where she spent some 24 years of her life. And I think she was well pleased in this ministry because a lot of what this ministry does requires the assistance of the Tongue and Country Planning Division, because we have many programs which impact on having the regulations of the state with respect to development of lands and the creation of housing estates, which requires the Tongue and Country Planning Division input. The Fisheries Department of the ministry was just transferred to the ministry just about a month ago, and we are still putting things in place to have the remainder of the staff transferred to us. This ministry comprised of staff that came from the Ministry of Housing and the Ministry of Food Production, and now the last piece of the puzzle also came from the Ministry of Food Production. And Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Land and Marine Resources have I would say a client base of just about over 200,000 in terms of who we have to deal with. And just the programs which fall under the ministry, which includes the Agriculture Land Program, the County VSEP Program, the Land for the Landless, the Squatter Regularization Program. These alone have a large impact because just over 60% of the lands in this country still comprise of state land, which is falls under the Ministry of Land and the Commissioner of Land Office. Incidentally, that's a position which actually reports to the President by way of its quasi-jurisdiction, because the lands in this country, state lands, are still vested under the President of the Republic. And under the ministry, there are two arms that deals with these lands, one of which is the Land Settlement Agency and the Commissioner of Lands. Okay, thank you very much. Honourable members, the question is the sum of $254,994,700 for Head 76. The Ministry of Land and Marine Resources stand part of the schedule. Honourable members, the sum of $254,994,700 for Head 76. The Ministry of Land and Marine Resources is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure and the draft estimates of development program. Subhead 1, personal expenditure. Item 1, general administration. Item 2, surveys and mapping. Item 3, land management. I recognize the honourable member for Lebre.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I want to refer to contract employment 16.
Which one? Which
goods and services.
You're on personal expenditure, right?
No, listen.
You.
What page?
Well,
Okay. Just hold a second for me. I'll come back to you.
We'll come there.
We're on item 3, land management. Item 4, fisheries. Item 5, Agricultural Land and Administration Division. We now go to subhead 02, Goods and Services. I think there is where you are.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Contract employment for 2014, 1.5 million, but the estimate for 2015 is $8 million. I would like to get some clarification on what informed that decision to increase to $8 million.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, the Ministry of Land and Marine Resources, though newly formed, much of its staff is now being transferred from different ministries, including the Ministry of Housing and the Ministry of Food Production. And also, we took a note to Cabinet which allow for the establishment of additional posts, and this will account for the increase in the allocation.
Okay.
Okay. So we go to item 2, surveys and mapping.
No, Mr. Speaker, I still have one, 23.
Yes.
Fees. 2014, 3.5 million.
What page?
But we saw a reduction in 2015 for the estimate of $393,000. Again, we're looking for some clarification on that.
No, that's short-term employment.
You do it short.
Yeah,
Fees is 23.
fees, 23.
Which one are you doing?
Use your ruler.
02,
Somebody has a
Goods and
phone on?
Services.
Could you switch off all phones?
You're kind of confusing me because
All right, I think that you're not clear. While you're clarifying, I'm moving on. Item 2, surveys and mapping. Item 3, land management. Item 4, fisheries. Item 5, agricultural land and administration division. Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases. Item 1, general administration. Item 2, surveys and mapping. Item 3, land management. Item 4, fisheries. Item 5, agricultural land and administration division. Subhead 04, current transfer and subsidies. Item 5, non-profit institution. Item 7, households. Item 8, subsidies. Item 9, other transfers. Item 10, other transfers abroad. Subhead 06, current transfers to statutory boards and similar bodies. Item 4, statutory bodies. We now turn to development program. Item 1, pre-investment. Item 3, economic. I recognize the Honourable Member for Diego Martin Central.
Chairman, I'm on page 221. I just want to confirm that you are there as well.
221.
221 is.
001, Marine Baseline Study in the Northwestern Peninsula.
Yes, I am with you.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Minister, what are the objectives of this study? When will it be initiated? Which agency is being contracted if it's not an in-house study? What is the duration?
Hold on.
The Honourable Minister of Marine,
That's
Land and Marine
That's a
Resources.
study that's been done by the Institute of Marine Affairs, and they will be commencing that very early in this new financial year.
What is the objective?
All right. This is to pick up any illegal reclamation that may have occurred, and so that we can have this entire mapping of the area, so that we can then start dealing with some of these reclamation matters in it.
The Honourable Member for Lebury.
Yeah. Land acquisition K001, acquisition of sites for non-agriculture.
What? Page?
2014, $50 million. Could you tell us where these sites are located?
Are you following him?
Yes. Yeah.
You follow? Yes,
Page
continue.
220.
Honourable.
Could you tell us where these sites are located?
Could you indicate where those sites are located? Do you have that information? If you don't, make it available in writing.
We have more than 50 sites that are located throughout the country. Actually, the estimate that will be submitted next year is over $140 million. These are reclamation matters going back as far as 20 and 30 years that have not been satisfied, and I've given the ministry the mandate that we have to settle all of these outstanding matters. Last year we got 50 million. This year we are 10 million. By March of next year, we will then be submitting another 100 million to satisfy these backlog throughout the country.
But we could get a listing of those sites.
Yes, I can provide a listing of the sites for you.
The Honourable Member for Diego Martin Central.
All right.
And
Mr.
then
Speaker,
Aruka Maloney.
I want to revert under Ministry of Food Production now as promised prior.
Yes.
I take you to page 77 under the Consolidated Fund. And I have a question with respect to, tell me when you're there, line item 508 and 534. I'm seeing expenditure, past expenditure on two related aspects of research into the marine fisheries industry and inshore coastal fisheries. I'm not seeing any allocation for this year. And I'm tempted to assume that those studies have been completed. I'm asking for whether they've been completed. I want to confirm that. Are the findings available, and I would like them to be made available to this committee. Further, I'm asking the minister, again under these items, if there are any plans to protect fish spawning. I don't know if he's listening.
Yes, it's following you.
Yes, fish spawning sites in the Gulf of Paria and on the North Coast. There are some specific areas, locations in which these fish spawn. Maybe based on this research, are there any plans within the ministry? And finally, assuming again that the research is completed, is it aimed at culminating in laws that will assist in the protection of our marine fisheries industry?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, through you,
Yes.
we have both international and regional obligation as far as the fish and spawning sites are concerned. And also, some of these research goes into the protection of the queen conch as well. Some of these research will go off the baselines as far as Tobago because of our regional obligation. But many of these projects have been absorbed within the recurrent expenditure because they are no longer considered to be this development program. Many of them have almost reached its end, and the Ministry is now looking at a comprehensive overview of our Fishing Act to bring it into the modernization and to also bring it in tune with upgrading the fines and penalties so that we can continue to manage and the fish spawning sites and also continue to manage the fish resource of this surrounding seas.
Are there any plans for an artificial reef program within the ministry?
That is something that we are considering. Actually, one of the research that we are looking at right now is the research with respect to shark and that entire program. But we are in fact looking at some of the waters of Tobago. We have we have started having discussion with Tobago House of Assembly on it already. One of the areas that we are seriously considering whether or not to make it into a marine park or some form of protected area is that Speyside seas. Actually, that is considered the clearest water in the entire world as the best water for recreation diving. So at least that is an area which we are seriously considering in protection of the marine environment and also the protection of that fish spawning areas around that particular region.
I have a question on the IDF. I don't know if now is the time. Maybe.
Sure.
I still have one question on the
Let's do DP first and then IDF after.
Speaker.
Yes.
G001.
What page?
What page?
Page 224. Equipment
Right.
and vehicles.
224.
Right. I would like to find out, firstly, which company is scheduled to do the refurbishment of the hydrographic unit's vessel? And secondly, is it seaworthy at this point in time?
Yes. We are looking at a project under the Central Tenders Board. We have not chosen any particular company, and we have done the research. It can be made seaworthy. Actually, we are having discussion with the Ministry of Transport to assist us with respect to those vessels. That to make available a couple of vessels that we can use for this marine survey. It is the marine survey is necessary. That's if the hydrographic survey is necessary with the opening up of the Panama Canal. That is necessary to survey the waters around the land, so that we can create now a digital mapping system. We are also having discussion with the hydrographic unit of the United Kingdom, who we are engaging in consultation. And they are recommending, they have seen the vessels and they have recommended other vessels that we need to procure as well. We are also having discussion with the Ministry of Energy to use some of their barge so that we can then use their vessels to survey the East Coast. That's along the Maracas, all those areas. And with the coming into the stream of their new port, that will make it much cheaper and much easier for us to continue those surveys.
The Honourable Member for Aruka Maloney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take, Mr. Chair, I'd like to take you all to page 223.
223.
Yes.
Sub-item 240, residential lot program, land for the landless.
Yes, yes.
I would like to find out from the minister how many lots have been distributed to date, the number of lots that you all have reserved for distribution, and if you can tell us about the number of applicants for the program. And I also want to link this back to item 001 on page 222 to ask whether or not the land acquisition that you speak of for non-agricultural purposes is for the land for the landless program. And actually, if you can tell us the actual locations of those parcels of land that you're looking at.
There are about 10 questions in one, but I'll try to see how much of them I would have gathered. The residential lot program, which was started just about 2 years ago, we have thus far prepared close to 1,000 lots of land to be distributed. None have been distributed to date. The reason being is that it takes close to 22 months to actually have the final approval from Tongue and Country, which is a requirement of the Act, of the State Land Regularization of Tenure Act, before we can actually distribute lands to persons. We have an applicant database of just over 40,000 persons would have applied, many of whom would fall into the squatter regularization program as well, but because they didn't have land, they applied under the program itself. We have right now 10 sites being prepared under the IDB program, which is not really cited here as an allocation, but that's a project we are doing through the Ministry of Public Administration and Ministry of Planning, and those projects will be starting very soon. They are not here, so there's no requirement to list those, but those will be starting very soon. They'll bring an additional 3,000 lots be making available for persons under this particular program. And we continue to take application on a regular, every single day. Persons can go down to the land settlement agency situated in Orange Grove and lodge their application.
Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Member.
Follow-up. I would like to find out from the minister if they can provide us with a list of all the recipients to date.
I just said we have no recipients because we have not allocated any as yet. No.
We were provided via the media with information that there were 2 distribution programs where 500 persons for each program.
No, but I'm giving you the correct
identified.
information. This is the Minister of Land is giving you the correct information.
All right.
The media.
All right, the Minister is giving the correct information. Let us go on now to the Infrastructure Development Fund, and I now recognize the Honourable Member for Digo Martin Central. And Lebré.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yes.
I'm on page 311.
Same book?
Yes.
Yeah, DP.
Yes, okay. Good.
Head 76, and Land Management Services 003, upgrading / construction of fishing facilities in Trinidad. And I see a 2015 allocation of $10 million. And my question to the minister is, as he did mention it in his budget presentation, this $10 million, does it specifically include funding for development for the fishermen at the Cocorit Fish Facility and Market? And if so, how much of this 10 million is identified for Cocorit, and what other locations
Yes.
would be allocated under this sum?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, through you. The Cocorit facility was tendered and a contract have been awarded and signed by NIPDEC for a tune of $6.2 million to one RJB contractors. That funding, though, would be taken out of the 2010, and only if they have not been able to draw all the funding, then we will take out of the 2014, then we'll take it out of the 2015. In addition to that, the Blanchisseuse facility has also been tendered, and that contract is in the process of being awarded. But this funding here, we wanted to make sure that we have coverage, because remember, I only received this division just about a month ago, and I wanted to make sure that we have coverage for these two particular facility, which contracts have been signed. In addition to this, the Cabinet have approved $300 million by way of raising of a bond or funds to be raised by NIPDEC, which will take into consideration all the other 39 facilities that we have throughout the country, to make sure that we bring some kind of at least first stage or part one of what we want to do to bring some of these facilities up to scratch.
On behalf of the Cocorit fishermen, I'm very pleased to hear that, and I hope the ministry would follow through quickly. It's good news.
Did the Honourable Member for Lebre?
003 again.
003.
Construction of fishing facilities in Trinidad. I see that the 2015 estimate $10 million.
Right.
I would like to find out whether or not the Lebre fishing facility is factored in that.
Lebre fishing facility and all the other fishing facilities are factored into a project that I just said the Cabinet have approved $300 million plus for the NIPDEC to raise a bond this year so that we can complete all these facilities during the course of this year.
So
we have already visited most of the sites, and we have held consultation with at least 80% of the site thus far. What we are doing now, we have brought into my ministry an architect and a senior civil engineer, and they are hard at work trying to refine all of the proposal that we received thus far, and trying to standardize as far as possible the designs so that we can move forward with what the fishermen want, and in addition to that, make the facilities very user-friendly and easy to maintain in the long run.
You said it was still 80% of the site.
Yes.
I just want to find out if Lebre was one of those that you visited.
Lebre was one of those that we have visited.
Okay. All right, honourable members, the question is that the sum of $254,994,700 for head 76, the Ministry of Land and Marine Resources, stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $254,994,700 for head 76, the Ministry of Land and Marine Resources, now stands part of the schedule. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, and your team.
Mr. Chairman, through you, I would like to thank the Commissioner of Lands, the PS Director of Fisheries, the CEO of LSA, and all the other staff for coming out and assisting us.
We'd like to thank you as well. Okay.